The reason why God heals people is for his glory. When he does it, the priority is not in your physical well-being, but in your spiritual well-being. There's a byproduct in that you are physically healed, but the priority is your spiritual well-being. Now, let me show you and demonstrate this. Because God's ultimate goal for humanity is that we would all be with him in heaven for eternity. And so he invites us all to be a part of what is called the marriage supper of the Lamb. Is anyone familiar with that phrase? Okay, all right. So the marriage supper of the Lamb. So God's intent is that we would all be there. God's intent is that we would all be with him in eternity. We would all take part in this grand feast. Now, from a human regular perspective, if you're a mom or a parent and you've had kids and you ever had to call them to dinner, how many families still do dinner at the table and you invite all the family, right? Especially like Thanksgiving or Easter when you have a big feast? You know that there are some people who can't wait till dinner. There are some people who want to eat now. When God heals, the reason is to glorify God. The priority is spiritual wholeness. When you're a parent or you're a person preparing a feast, your desire is that everyone would come to the table, just like God wants us to come to his eternal table. Your desire is that everyone would come to the table. But over here, on this side, let's say, there are some people who just, for whatever reason, they can't wait. Now, if you're a parent, you've had kids that come in and like, when is dinner? When is dinner? I'm starving. I'm hungry. I want to eat. Let me at least lick the bowl. Let me do whatever. And from their perspective, now I don't know if this has ever happened to you, but I know I have done it back in the day where I would come in, especially in the summer, and it's hot and you're outside playing and you've exhausted a lot of energy and you come home for dinner and you're like, I want dinner now. And of course, no mother on the planet obeys that. All right, she's got a schedule. She knows when dinner is. From my perspective, I was starving. I was hungry. I had something that was ailing me that I felt like needed to be attended to right then. And when we're sick, we have something that's ailing us that we feel like this needs to be attended to right now. And just like the parent who says, you're not starving to death. You're not going to die. I know you can wait until dinner, even though it seems like it's going to be forever, or even though it seems like you don't know when it's going to be. As a parent, I know you can wait. And for some of us, when we're sick and we're like, why isn't God healing me? Is because God knows that you can hold on, that this is going to pass, that this isn't going to stop you from doing what he has called you to do. So he just lets you hold on. Does that make sense? Are you with me? Sometimes God doesn't heal people because there is no need to heal people. And some of us, like, I've had headaches, I've had stomach aches, I hate talking about throwing up in church, but you're throwing up your sick stomach flu virus or whatever, and you think this is never going to pass. God, by all your power, take it away right now. And the response is another hurl. And you're like, that's not God. But God knows, and you're like, why aren't you taking this away? Because God knows, hey, this is going to pass. This doesn't need my healing. And some of us, what it needs is literally a visit to the doctor, because there is a cure for some of the things that ails us. For some of us, it may need just time for that flu to work itself out. God created our human bodies. He knows how our bodies work. For some of us, we just need to hold on. And just like the parent who tells the kid that's starving, and the kid's like, I'm going to die, and the parent's like, no, you're not. And it may seem like they don't care, but they know you can wait for the feast. Does that make sense? Now, there are some people where you can't wait. And as a parent, you've had those kids that, for lack of a better term, throw a hissy fit. Like, I need food now, I need something, and you're like, no, you have to wait, and they start ripping through the cabinets, and they're pulling out flour, and I need something now. And so you don't give them the feast, you give them just a little snack, something to hold you over, until the feast. And in some cases, when some people are sick, what God does is he says, hey, I know this will pass, but I also know you cannot wait. I also know in this current state, you're not going to be able to do what I have called you to do, so I will heal you. I will answer that prayer. I will let someone come into your circle of influence and heal you. I will. If you call on the elders and they pray over you, you will be healed. And it happens today. And Paul, if you read through some of his letters, he talks about the fact that he had an affliction that God wouldn't take away from him. And the reason God wouldn't take it away is because God said, I'm getting more glory out of you operating with it than if I took it away. But for some people, God says, I have to heal you so that you can do what I called you to do in your current state, even though I know this will pass, and even though I know there's a better thing down the road, because this healing is physically, it's going to be temporary. My goal is that you would be with me at the marriage supper eternally, but I'm going to heal you. And this is going to hold you over. I'm not bringing you into full spiritual, the feast, but I'm going to heal you, a snack, a spiritual snack, if you will, to hold you over until the feast. Does that make sense? Okay, now, here's the final one. And this is the one that hurts. And it hurts a lot of people. Because sometimes God says, you know what? A snack isn't going to hold you over. It's not going to stop your pain. And so God says, I'm going to bring you to the feast early. And he brings some people home. And we're hurting and we miss them. But from God's perspective, he's getting glory out of it. And that person is now more spiritually whole than we could imagine because they are in the presence of God. And there are some people that, just like the parent who says, okay, I'm sick and tired of you, yelling you're starving, and I know a snack isn't going to hold you over. And sometimes, you may remember, we had parents that would do this. They would say, okay, here's dinner, okay, but I still want you to come and sit at the table with everybody else. Even though you're eating an hour or two before everybody else, because you're losing your mind, and you can't, and I'm going to give you right now, but I still want you to come and sit at the table with everybody else. And when God brings those people that are sick, and he says, hey, a snack's not going to cut it for you, and I know you can't hold on, I'm going to give you your feast now. They are in his presence now. They get to sit at the table with God now. But we're going to see them again, and we'll all be sitting at the table together.